following questions and my answers are for students from kindergarten through to grade 3. Sometimes I've been provided with a first name, which I will mention, but I will never mention last names. And that's okay if you didn't attach your name, that's just fine. The students watching this will know who asked the question, and it's good that the question is asked just for the whole class. So the first questions are from kindergarten B students. And I will respond to some questions from each class because there will be other videos that I will make, and I can't answer all the questions in 1 or 2 videos anyways, it would take too long. So the first question is, what does God want us to do in the world? It's a good question. They're all good questions. What does God want us to do in the world? God wants us to, number 1, to love everyone just like He does. God wants us to grow up and to use all of our gifts, our intellectual gifts, the gifts of our mind, and the gifts of our body, our health, in order to do as much good as we can when we grow up. Whether that means being somebody who's an electrician, or a librarian, or a teacher, or a doctor, or a lawyer, or somebody who works in construction as a carpenter, somebody who gets married, somebody who is a priest or a nun. Whatever we do in life, God wants us to do the very best that we can do. And of course, He wants us to ask Him to help us, to give direction in our life, to help us understand what He wants us to do. And then we try to do it as best as we can. So that's really the important thing that God wants us to do in the world. As much good as possible, to love everyone that we come into contact with, even if sometimes people are not always easy to love. God wants us to ask Him to help us love that person. Next question. Why did God create the earth? Tough question. The answer is because when you love somebody, you want to share that love with them. And when 2 people get married, for example, I'll use the example of when 2 people get married and they love each other, they have children like you in the kindergarten. So they want to share their love with each other and with another person. So they have a child, they have a baby. So God, St. John tells us, is love. And because God is love, He wants to share His love with others. And that's you and me. Well, it's even the angels. So in order for us to be able to live, God created this world to show us His love and His power so that we can live here in this world and journey our way to heaven. So that's why God made the world. The next question, it's a toughie. Can women be priests? Now this is from kindergarten for the adults who may be asking this. Can women be priests? I haven't seen one. Well, all baptized people are members of a real priesthood. This is tough for a kindergarten to understand, but maybe the teachers can help, or mommy and daddy can help. Or you can ask me another question, but I'm just going to give you the best answer that I can give for a kindergarten. All baptized people are members of a real priesthood, and we call that the royal priesthood. So men and women are part of that priesthood. Jesus brings us into that priesthood when we're baptized. But then Jesus only takes males, men, and makes them members of a ministerial priesthood. And those are very big words, but it means a few things. Number 1, it means that boys are not better than girls. That's important to understand. Girls are not better than boys, and boys are not better than girls. Everyone has equal dignity in God's eyes. We're always to respect each other. God's greatest human, the one human he created, was Mary. Mary's a woman. Priests like me are called to serve all the members of the royal priesthood and remind them that Jesus wants them to offer their lives as a pleasing sacrifice to him by being good every day, by trying to be like Jesus, being holy, loving God, and loving other people. Now I'll move to questions from grade 1A. How is the building of the new school going since we can't see it? Well, with your mom and dad's permission, I have loaded a few videos to the YouTube channel of Corpus Christi Parish. School is coming along really well. It's so far it's on time, and the workers are doing really well. So you keep praying that God will keep helping the workers do their job really well, and that our time schedules will all be met. So the school is doing really well. The next question from 1A, when will it be safe for us to go back to church and school? To be honest with you, boys and girls, I don't know. The government of British Columbia is thinking about relaxing some of the restrictions, maybe in the middle of May. But that doesn't mean everybody can come back to church or everybody can go back to school. We just don't know. They're trying their best. They're studying all the cases of sick people, and they're going to do what they really believe and really trying to do the best for us so that we can still keep helping each other to be healthy and to be safe. So we just have to keep praying for patience and be thankful that you can learn online. Because when I was your age, we could never learn online. It just wouldn't be possible. But now, God, we're blessed with this ability to learn now through the internet. And so in the meantime, be patient, keep praying for all the people trying to come up with a cure, all our hospital people, our first responders, pray for them that they will be able to help us. And we can reduce the number of sick people and then see if we can come back to church and school, even in small numbers. But we have to wait for our government authorities to give us some direction. Now grades 2A, or grade 2A. When will we have Holy Communion? I don't have an exact date, but I can assure you, grade 2A and grade 2B, although you didn't ask the question, you will receive First Holy Communion. It may be sometime in June. That's not a promise. It may even be in September. Don't know yet for sure, but I will listen to the guidance of the Archbishop, and I will be talking to Ms. Natola and also to Ms. Solomon, the prep teacher as well, the prep coordinator, and eventually when we can, we will. Next question from 2A, why is there a COVID-19? Why does God let bad things happen? This question has been asked a number of times in slightly different ways. It's a really tough question, but it's a very good question because lots of people are wondering about this. I can give you what I know, which is probably very limited as to why there is COVID-19. You know, the things that I've read in the newspapers or seen on TV, and it really is in many ways the reason why we have it. It could be people were maybe doing some research in a lab and stuff got out of the lab. You know, the infectious disease, it got out of the lab by accident. Or it could be that in some of these markets in China, there was, the bats were infected and people, they eat different things, very different from what we do here. So this is why we may have the spread of COVID-19. Now, why does God allow this to happen? Well, explaining this to grade twos, it's all about the gift of freedom we have, which is a tremendous responsibility. And I'll try to explain it this way. If mom and dad tells you never to open the door to strangers, you never open the door to strangers. And there's no exception. You don't open the door to strangers. If you did, and there is a bad person on the other side of that door, and you open the door to strangers, and mommy and daddy didn't know, and that bad person got into the house, then not only you would suffer, but mommy and daddy might suffer. And that's what happens sometimes. Because of our freedom, sometimes we can be tricked into doing something. Sometimes we choose to do something that's not very good. We ignore advice. And sometimes when we disobey God, bad things happen. God lets them happen because God made us free. He made us free to do good things, but we can also do things that are not good. And that's important for you to remember when you're asked to do something at home and you say, no, not doing it. That's not a good thing. But God doesn't make you do it. God wants you to choose to do it. So I hope that you can understand that. These answers are for grade 3B. I wonder why God created earth and humans. St. John, in his first letter, tells us that God is love. And one of the things about love is that it seeks to share itself. It wants others to know its own happiness. So when people love, they want others to share in their happiness. God wants us to share in his happiness. So God, because he is love, created the earth and created us, and created the angels too, so that we could share in God's love. God wants us to know about his goodness and about his desire for us to be with him forever and ever in heaven. Next question. Father, why do people always have to die? Like the ones we love the most. This is from Emily, grades 3B. It's kind of like the answer I gave, I think, as applied to grade 2. When, let's say, because God made us free is the answer, and when we misuse our freedom, sometimes little things happen that are not good, and sometimes big things happen that are not good. And when Adam and Eve sinned, a big thing happened that wasn't good. And that big thing was that they lost a special gift and they had to die. And that special gift they lost, if Adam and Eve had never sinned, we would all live forever and simply walk into heaven. But now, because of their sin, it's kind of like opening the door to somebody on the other side of the house and you don't know who they are. And when you open the door, that person harms you. That's why mommy and daddy say don't open the door to strangers. You never do. But if you did, and something bad would happen to you, and maybe mommy and daddy in the house too. So when Adam and Eve sinned, they opened a door and somebody bad came in, and that was the devil. And then part of that was now we have to die. But it's important for us to remember that Jesus came into this world to help us live. And by his dying on the cross, you see, by his dying on the cross, Jesus offered us help in order to share in his life and one day to be in heaven and to live forever. So Jesus is going to take care of us. Grade 3A. Does one remember one's life on earth when in heaven? Yes. Because in heaven, we will recognize each other. We will know each other. I will know, God willing, hopefully I get to heaven. I pray every day I can get to heaven. And my mom and my dad will be in heaven. I will know who my mom and dad was on earth. Just like Jesus recognizes and knows his mother, Mary, and his foster father, St. Joseph, in heaven. So we will know our friends, we will know our parents, and that means we'll have our memories of what happened when we were on earth. So, yes, one remembers one's life when in heaven. And the last question for this section is grade 2B. Devon, how did God make the earth in only 7 days? Well, God could make the world in 7 days because God is so powerful he can do this. God could also have made the world in 7 periods of time. And that could have been over millions and billions of years. As Catholic Christians, we can believe either. The important thing is that we let science, the findings of good, truthful science, guide us. So God could have done it in 7 days because he's that powerful. But God could also have done it, and it seems more likely that God created the world over 7 periods of time. And so the main thing about the Bible is that it's not so much a science textbook, although there's nothing untrue in the Bible. The Bible tells us how to go to heaven. Or as St. Augustine put it a long time ago, more for the parents who may watch this and the teachers, the Bible is not so much to tell us how the heavens go, but how to go to heaven. Although I say it again, there's nothing untrue in the Bible, but we must understand the literary genre or the style in which the Bible is written. So that is how God could make the world in 7 days or in 7 periods of time, which in fact may be millions and billions of years. God bless you.